What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of the Melbourne 245 series. Lately, I've been training pretty hard with little direction but my own. This means that I've been running to paces and efforts, but in reality, I don't really know if I'm running efficiently or doing the best thing that I can to become a better runner. One way that you can paint a better picture is to do a lactate threshold test, which I'm going to be doing today at the Runclinic. So the Runclinic is a destination for runners seeking to enhance their performance, accelerate injury recovery, and maintain an injury-free regimen. I've been working with the team at the Runclinic for probably about the last 2 months now. They've been helping me sort out some forefoot issues and also helping me with some strength and conditioning and working on some weaknesses in my calves. I'm heading to the Runclinic this morning where I'm gonna meet up with Darcy, who's gonna be running me through the lactate threshold test. Look, guys, I will say that I'm in no way an expert in any of this stuff, and it's one of the reasons that I really wanted to do this test and make this video is because I'm super interested in learning more about lactate thresholds and how I can be using it in my own training to become more efficient and have more direction and become, hopefully, a better runner in the process. I say all of this to say that this video is not about me telling you what you should or shouldn't do or how I'm some sort of genius in this expertise at all. It's about me going through this learning process with you guys, and hopefully we both can get a better understanding of how it all works and become better runners as a result. But either way, guys, I've been really excited for this video to come around. The day has finally come and we're getting the lactate threshold done. Alright guys, made it to the Runclinic. We've got Darcy here. He's going to be running me through the lactate threshold test. Haven't really explained what we're going to be doing today to you guys yet, so I figured I'd leave it to the expert to sort of run us through what we're going to be doing. But yeah, we've got the seat treadmill here, we've got the TV and all the gear, and we're going to get into it. So
thanks, man. Yeah, so today what we're going to do is try and find Dave's lactate threshold 1. This is also known as aerobic threshold, when the body starts to accumulate a bit more lactate than what it's doing at rest. And then we're also going to try and find lactate threshold 2, where we're producing quite a lot of lactate. This is also known as anaerobic threshold. So with this information, what we can do is make some really cool graphs and just try and understand some zones and where, like in Dave's body, what's happening physiologically, so we can plan some training around those lactate values and yeah, just get faster. So we're going to take some blood samples on the treadmill. It's going to take about 45 minutes, a little bit longer, and yeah, take some tests, get him sweaty, and go from there.
Yeah, cool. I've never had like my blood tested or anything like that, so yeah, it's going to be completely new for me. Hopefully, like I'm not a little girl about it. But
try not to faint. Try not to faint.
Oh, I don't think I'll faint. Yeah, nah, that's good. I'm keen. So pretty much, how do we get started?
So what we'll do is we'll have a warm up from the start. So I'll get you on there. I've got some intervals here. We're going to take a lactate value at baseline. So just understand what you are walking around.
Yeah.
We'll do that warm up. We'll just test it again. Often we see the lactate values in the first part of the test when you're actually like running actually comes down a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
The amount of lactate you're using will actually be a bit more than what you're producing.
Yeah.
So find the lactate will go down a little bit, and then when the intensity comes up and you start producing more lactate than you're actually clearing, we'll know that we hit the first threshold.
Yeah.
And then we go from there. It should sort of steadily tick up as we increase the intensity to the point where it starts trending up pretty quickly, and then we know we're around that second threshold.
And would you say that first, like LT1, so basically we're going to find LT1 and LT2. LT1 is basically when your body starts using carbs more than fats, is that?
Yeah, it really increases how much it uses as a percentage. Like when we are running below LT1, we're still using some carbohydrates. So for example, if you run at below marathon pace, under LT1 for a long time, you're still going to use quite a few carbohydrates, but it's the ratio. Like after you do start using more lactate, producing more lactate, the amount of glucose and glycogen you use really does goes up. So it increases like a fair bit until anaerobic threshold, where we're pretty much exclusively using carbohydrates at that point.
And that's when you're moving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool. All right, well let's get into it. Keen us. Awesome. So a bit of a warm up now.
Yeah. So we'll run you through what we'll do with the samples. And
yeah.
Go from there. So that should be on.
Yeah.
What we'll do is sort of take this specimens on your like non-dominant hand. So you're right-handed.
Yeah, I'm right-handed.
Cool.
Interesting.
So it gets a bit more sort of hectic as we...
as you like sweating and stuff. Like.
So you can even just like hold that there or whatever, but
yeah.
Sometimes So we've got our protocol for Dave's warm-up. We started essentially at like an easy pace, and then we're going to try and get his body to produce a little bit of lactate by about running at like half marathon pace, and then building up from there just for a short period of time, just so that we can get the system producing a little bit, and then running a bit slower so we can buffer that off, and then we're right ready for the actual part of the test.
Right, warm up done. Now we're getting changed out of the clompers. These are gonna make me run fast. They always do. Then we're getting into the real test.
Just a warm up. Trying to make it pass out.
I was like, because I was talking to Tomo, and he was like, oh yeah, my mate did it, and he's like, make sure you like treat it as a session, like you don't do a session day before or something. So I was like, oh shit. But then when I spoke to you on the phone, it like gave me some more clarity on what it was going to do. It's the VO2 max test that's tough there.
VO2 is like pushing to exhaustion. You're still trying to.
Oh, that would be good. I'm kind of keen for that, to be honest.
It's mentally pretty hard.
Yeah.
Because we will keep asking,
it's always like,
can you go the next level? And then you're like, yeah, like.
Yeah, and you'd be like, not trying to show off, but you're like, you're trying to give them something to
But then you've got the mask on and you're feeling a bit lightheaded.
So probably expecting it to go up a little bit on the next one.
Yeah, for sure. This feels more like marathon pace.
Yeah. So just like we anticipated, Dave's lactate has actually come down a little bit when we've started the proper steps, just meaning that his body's using more lactate than it's currently producing. So at the point that it ticks up again, will be lactate threshold 1, and then when it starts to tick up a lot faster, will be number 2. So we're right on track at the moment.
I'm feeling pretty fit right now, like from training. So.
I don't know if lactate will move much in this one, but probably will in the next one.
The next one, yeah. It's usually when I start getting under. Yeah. Closer to like 3:45. That's like, I'm going to start getting tough. That's like half marathon-ish.
Again. Straight on? Yep. Let's say up there was there. 6. But it's only moved a tiny bit then. That's from 1.3 to 1.4, so we'll probably end up getting you at like 5 or 6 later on.
Yeah.
So small increment. Yeah. Small increment. Yeah. Lactate's still pretty flat. So I reckon like about lactate 1 is a pretty good marathon pace.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it's within that range anyway.
What pace is this?
This is 3:45. It's a bit tricky now, so that's getting a bit sweaty on the hand. Yeah. We're doing well. I've got a towel now. That's all. It's still on the same original hole. That's great work. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's doing the job. Yeah. I normally reckon like 160 heart rate is pretty much bang on LT1. It's funny, like, in a race, my heart rate's way higher than this. Yeah, okay. Like, when I ran the GC double, I was running like, what, 440 pace? And most of the time it wasn't 170. Yeah, did run a big run than before. Yeah, that's true. I do reckon these conditions are pretty perfect as well. So sometimes, like, when you're thinking about this training data, you're sort of also looking for like perfect conditions. Perfect conditions, yeah. Makes sense. Definitely got a few more meters. Jump off. Yeah, let it squeeze. So I'm giving you the finger. Fuck you. Back on there. That was a decent rest. Yeah, I know. Let's go. What does it say? 1.5. Definitely working now. We've definitely found the aerobic threshold. So we're in between LT1 and LT2 at the moment. Not very far away from LT2. Dave reckons he's getting pretty close to 10k pace, so really working now. Yeah, definitely 10k now. We reckon the upbeat was in the last one. 7.5. This is probably 8. That was definitely harder, that one. We're getting to it. The next one I'm going to have to start like zoning in. Actually, I was already zoning in the last 2. Good? Yep, that was good. Nice. 2.6, so it's trending up, but it's still in control. It's like hard not knowing how to wrap. Okay. About 2.5 minutes. Let's go. Heart rate's getting up there. Pretty close to done. Nah, good. What's up? Here's how high this is. Yeah. That would be 4.5. Yeah. I don't know if we need to go another one now. We can go on. What's up to you? Yeah, let's go. Okay. Pass that. 4.5 now. So it's working pretty hard. We're just going to go this last one and just see how much of an increase in lactate we can get from this one where we know we're over LT2 to another hard rep. Last rep. Let's go, man. Is that it? Yeah. What pace is that again?
3 minute pace.
3 minute?
Yeah.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
It's better if you don't know.
That's it, I think so.
Worked?
Yep, perfect. 6.8.
6.8. Oh. Perfect.
3 minute pace.
3 minute pace.
That's all it took.
That's it. Yeah, that's right.
All right, there it is, test done. Whew, she's bright out. That got tough. That got really tough, but man, was that fun. Like, I talk about just embracing being in the deep end, and that's definitely where I was. That last rep, apparently we were at 3 minute pace. Felt smooth. Lucky I didn't know I was running a 3 minute pace, or it might have been a different story. But yeah, so basically gonna head home now. Darcy is gonna hook me up with a bit of a graph with all the details, all the information, pretty much all the data that we just got from the test. And then we're gonna jump on a Zoom call, and he's gonna run me through all of the info, all the data, and then basically explain what the point of the test was, what we get out of it, and then how I can use that data to then, I guess, level up my training from this point forward. So basically gonna jump from this little clip right here, and we're gonna jump to a Zoom with Darcy. So I'll see you guys on Zoom. Hey Darcy, how are you? Thanks for meeting me here on Zoom.
No worries, man. No, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for putting me through my paces as well. It was definitely a new experience for me, and yeah, I'm really glad that I got to do it. And now I'm just I've got all this data, and I don't have any idea what I'm looking at. So I was hoping that you could run me through basically what it all means and sort of how I can use it for my training.
Yeah, no stress, man. No, it was a lot of fun. It's good getting athletes in who are really keen on improving their own performance and just want to know a bit more. So I reckon in terms of lactate, what can be helpful, just because there's so many misconceptions, is just having a chat about what lactate is. So I think people often think about lactate as like a waste product, like something that's bad. Sometimes it's called like lactic acid, but it's actually like a useful byproduct of us burning glycogen that we like reuse as energy. So it's not necessarily like a bad thing. So when we're exercising more intensely and the body can't produce enough energy using aerobic metabolism, it'll start to rely more heavily on burning glycogen as fuel. This is called anaerobic metabolism. And when we cross over from mainly using that aerobic metabolism to leaning more and more heavily on anaerobic, then that's called the first lactate threshold, which is what we're trying to measure in a clinic. Then also, as we'll then continue to exercise more and more intensely, our reliance on that anaerobic metabolism will continue to increase until we hit the second threshold, lactate threshold 2, which is also called the anaerobic threshold. And basically, we just start to produce more and more lactate. If we're really fit, people will actually use the lactate in their muscles, and it won't get exported to the bloodstream. So they're actually really good at reusing that energy. But eventually, it'll catch up with us, and we'll start to export it to the bloodstream, and that's where we can measure it in the test. So we're measuring basically that lactate that went out into the blood, and measuring it from there. So if a person's more fit, it takes us a pretty long time to be able to register the increase in lactate levels. If a person's less fit, it'll come up a bit higher. So the protocol is pretty tough, as you figured out the other day. I tried to just make it feel like it wasn't too crazy, but no, you did really well. Absolutely.
I enjoyed it.
That's good. It's sort of like a long, good progression run for like an hour. So I think we had about eight steps for you. So try to keep it around that like 7 or 8 steps where we're slowly increasing it. We did pretty well getting the samples in and off pretty quickly, so that was good.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So I've got this data for you, man. How about I'll share my screen and just show you what we're looking at. So we've converted this into like what's called the 3-zone model. So the 3-zone model is essentially the barriers are lactate threshold 1 is where it goes from green to yellow. So green is the moderate domain, yellow is the heavy domain, and red, so the border of there is lactate threshold 2, where you can see that red dot, and this is called the severe domain. So essentially, like with your results there, some really cool stuff. So your lactate stayed pretty flat for a while until you were at around like 15.46 kilometers an hour. So your ability to like reuse that lactate and not export it was really pretty good. With that as well, oftentimes like lactate threshold 1 can correlate pretty nicely to marathon pace. So in your case, we had about 15.46 kilometers an hour, which translates to like 3:53-ish per K. So if you were to hold that for the marathon, it would actually like bring you in like a minute short of your goal marathon time. So I thought that was a pretty cool finding when we plugged in that data. So yeah, then from there, like your lactate 2 at 18.3, so that was also pretty high. And a cool thing about that was that your heart rate stayed like really consistent. It didn't like jump up at any point. You just ever so slowly, the heart rate rose with the intensity. So that's definitely a pretty strong curve. But another thing to remember is that this is like a point in time. So, if you stop training completely, it would change. And the conditions can knock it around a little bit as well. So maybe 3:53 if you were, somewhere very humid, very hot, might not quite be the same. Might those paces might change.
Yeah, for sure. Like I definitely felt my heart rate was sitting lower on the treadmill in the aircon in the controlled conditions rather than like I guess smacking it out on the road in the sun or the wind and stuff. So yeah, I guess the conditions would definitely play a part, but it's cool to know that I guess the 3:53 or 3:54 pace as the LT1 being I guess marathon pace. It's a pretty good confidence booster for me going into Melbourne. And it's just, I guess it's just good to know that that is the case as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like that should be pretty comforting. So hopefully just ride on that money, and I'm sure you'll get there.
Yeah, cool. Hopefully it's a nice cool day, like it was in the aircon.
Yeah, that's it. There's not that many warm days in Melbourne, even that time of year, but sometimes it's a
Yeah,
bit warm, sometimes it's not.
yeah,
Bloody Melbourne. But yeah, so I think like there's a couple of pretty prominent groups that use lactate pretty heavily in their training. So you've got the Ingebrigtsens,
yeah.
the track guys in Norway, and then also the Norwegian triathlon group, which have done really well. The Blumenfelds and Gustav Eden. So
Mm,
I think how those guys use it is they try to spend basically as much time throughout the week, in the heavy domain as they can without creating too much fatigue. So they're trying not to cross into that severe domain too much, and trying to just structure their workouts. So if they are in the heavy domain, that they're getting, sort of adequate rest, or that they're able to, work in that pretty tight zone, without putting too much training stress on them. And I think that's that combined with a lot of time spent in the zone 1 in this model, to be the keys there for them.
yeah, cool. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's pretty helpful when anyone is trying to improve their training to understand where these thresholds are. So I think it'd be really helpful, especially if a person's not sure, to to get the test done, and then we can give them just some really good training information about where where to keep the easy training, how to structure some of the more intense training, and then we can measure it across time as well, which is a cool thing.
Yeah, yeah, because that's one of the things that I sort of didn't really know about my own training was, I guess, how fast or how hard I should be running my intervals and for, the shorter intervals or the longer intervals and all that sort of stuff. I was kind of just running to what I thought was feel for the reps. And even on my easy days, I was just running to what I thought was easy, but it would be cool. It's cool now that I've got, a better picture painted for me that I can sort of know my heart rates, and then I can also relay back to the RPE of each sort of increment that we did on the treadmill there and think about like how my lactate was feeling at those points as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the RPE does is a really valuable measure for you to think about, and the breathing as well. So oftentimes around that zone 1 to 2, that threshold there, like there'll be a bit of an increase in breathing where you do notice that you are just breathing more than before. So that can be
Mm.
one of those feel indicators, and then the second threshold, there's like a significant uptick in breathing where it's harder to control, and that can be just another one of those measures that you use to understand if you might be pushing like a touch hard.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, nice. Well, it was a lot of fun helping you out, man.
But I'm looking forward to remeasuring it at another time, sort of before or after another block, and just seeing how
Yeah.
far you can push it. But no, definitely got some strong aerobic capacity there, and a pretty tight difference between zone 2 and zone 3. So that's exactly what you want.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to, or when would you think would be a good time to do it again? Would you say at the start of another block or nearing the end of another block to sort of, I guess, reconfirm that what your marathon pace around about is? Or
Yeah, I think like in a
what do you think?
perfect world, maybe like before a block, and then midway through or after a block, depending on how the race schedules and structure we're going to go.
Yeah, okay, cool. We'll have to do another test at the start of my next block, whatever that's going to be, sub 2:30.
Yeah, I hope so. Also, just wanted to shout you out again. I was obviously in that last video where carried me to the finish line at the Gold Coast half. So I
Yeah.
do appreciate that, mate. That was a lot of
No,
fun.
that's all good. That was like some of the most fun I've ever had. Like
Awesome.
I should have introduced you as the bloke that we paced at the half.
Well,
I wonder if anybody recognized you.
if you cut to it in that video, it's that would be funny. But yeah, I was in a world of pain, but I was happy with the PB. Got the Bicky, so it's all good.
Yeah, 100%. It was all worth it in the end. A few grouches, but yeah, we got you there. It was good.
Yeah, felt like Elliot Kipchoge, sort of getting winged by these two guys, all the way to the
100%.
finish. It was amazing.
Got it. You got to take it.
Thanks again, man. That was fun.
Awesome, man. All right. Well, thank you so much for jumping on.
No worries.
And yeah, and also massive shout out to Runclinic for like helping me out with all my training and getting my forefoot issues right, and also like strengthening my calves as well. I was doing my calf stuff before I jumped on here as well.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Um,
Love to hear it.
yeah, so if anybody is got any injuries or anything that they're looking to attend to, or they just want to become a better runner, work on their gaits, pretty much anything to do with running, these guys are the best of the best. And they've got a clinic in Holland Park. And
Yep.
where was your other clinic?
In Newmarket. So yeah, pretty
Newmarket.
close, pretty central. We've got both the Zebras, like the instrumented treadmill at both, and any gravity if we've got any injuries, and the performance testing gear we can get across to both as well. So yeah, obviously it was a team effort looking after you, Dave, where we had a few of the guys, Jack and Chelsea, really
Yeah,
working in to pitch in. But no, it's always good fun when the person's motivated to get better, and it's just all around good sport. So thanks for that. It's always fun.
awesome. Yeah, awesome. Thanks for jumping on, mate. I'll talk to you again soon.
No worries, man. Chat soon.
See ya.